Not every great movie or great arcade game makes a great home video game. That's why when Mattel Electronics turned Tron into Tron home video games, we made sure the excitement of Tron gameplay found its way into your home.
1982 was going to be the nerdiest year of film anyone had ever seen, as pulp genre films took over the mainstream in a major way. Most of the world would get their first look at computer-generated special effects in Tron. A weirdly fleshy alien would capture hearts around the entire world, a different fleshy alien would try to take over the world, a blade would run, and Conan would barbarian. Honestly, it was hard to imagine what other movies could do to compete.
The hell with you!
Plus, there were some pretty good dramas for all the grown-ups, and one of the darkest animated films ever made, for the kids who were too young to go see Poltergeist. We're taking you through all of the best movie-related news and events of the 1980s. This is Timeline Movies. We're keeping a close eye on everyone in this Arctic research base, because this episode is all about 1982. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel and let us know in the comments below your favorite movie moment from 1982. Now, are you ready to find out what was going on in movies the year Star Wars was released on VHS?
Not in the last few hours.
On March 2nd, Columbia Pictures, CBS, and HBO teamed up to form Nova Pictures. Unfortunately for them, however, the name created some confusion with the popular PBS show Nova, so the studio quickly changed its name to TriStar Pictures. TriStar's first release would be the poorly received 1984 comedy Where the Boys Are, 84, but would cement itself with blockbusters like Rambo, First Blood Part 2, Look Who's Talking, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and Basic Instinct. That same day, Barry Levinson's film debut, Diner, was ordered up in theaters.
If you don't want to give him the sandwich,
I don't want to give it.
Well, then just eat the sandwich.
You know what your problem is? You don't chew your food. That's why you get so irritable.
I realized that he was, as a director, opening up the floodgates for improv.
I try to find a way what you might call like sort of controlled freedom. It seems to be very loose, but I know where I want it to go.
It's just we got nothing to talk about. But it's good, it's good.
The future Rain Man director's debut film follows 6 childhood friends coping with the struggles of young adulthood in the 1950s, and features breakout stars like Daniel Stern, Kevin Bacon, Mickey Rourke, Paul Reiser, Timothy Daley, and Steve Guttenberg.
Comic actor John Belushi died today at a rented hotel bungalow in the Hollywood Hills. Authorities say that cause of death is believed to have been a heart attack.
On March 5th, Saturday Night Live legend John Belushi was found dead at the Chateau Marmont in Los Angeles, having suffered a fatal overdose. Kathy Smith ultimately served 15 months in prison for supplying the 33-year-old comedian with the narcotics that ended his life. On March 15th, 1982, Raging Bull actress Teresa Saldana was brutally attacked at her Los Angeles home by a stalker who had tracked her down using a private investigator. Saldana, who spent 4 months recovering, played herself in a TV movie about the incident and spent the rest of her life raising awareness about stalking before passing away in 2016. Later on in the month, the film adaptation of the smash hit Broadway musical Annie was left on the doorstep of theaters on March 21st.
It's my idea to have an orphan for a week, Mr. Warbucks, even if it's only for your image.
Despite being only a modest success compared to the musical, Annie has been adapted several more times over the years with Oscar-winning stars like Kathy Bates and Jamie Foxx.
This is the 54th year of this award show, and coincidentally, this is the 54th award show of this year. I don't know about you, but I think we ought to get together next month after the popcorn manufacturer's Golden Bucket Awards and cool it for a while.
And March 29th brought the 54th Academy Awards, which were hosted for the 4th consecutive year by Tonight Show host Johnny Carson, despite big wins for John Gielgud, Maureen Stapleton, Katharine Hepburn, and Warren Beatty. The biggest winner of the night was
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
which took home 5 awards. After its March 16th premiere in Madrid, Conan the Barbarian opened in the U.S. on May 14th.
Our Lord pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge.
Based on the pulp hero created by Robert E. Howard, the movie starred little-known Arnold Schwarzenegger. The film divided critics like a broadsword, but it was a box office success and turned Schwarzenegger into a bankable star. 5 days later, actress Sophia Loren began serving a 17-day sentence at a women's prison in Caserta, Italy, for tax evasion. Loren would later tell the press she felt comforted by the support she received from fans, as well as celebrities like Burt Reynolds, who jokingly offered to get the mafia to break her out.
Officials hint she may not have to serve the entire sentence, but it's not hard time. The jail is run by nuns, has no bars.
Beyond the darkness, beyond the human evolution, is Khan.
Kirk, you're still alive, my old friend.
Still old friend.
And on June 4th, the Federation ship Enterprise soared back into theaters with the release of Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. A direct sequel to the 1967 Star Trek episode Space Seed, Wrath of Khan was a massive box office success and revitalized the franchise after the lackluster reaction to 1979's Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
This was the best Star Trek that I've ever seen. The characters were really back to the old episodes. It had action, it had humor, it had love. All of those things thrown in that we've been missing all these years, and even more so now.
And I wish to go on hurting you.
That same day, Poltergeist spirited its way into theaters and turned the phrase, "they're here," into some of the creepiest words in movie history.
They're here.
Helmed by Texas Chainsaw Massacre creator Tobe Hooper and produced by Steven Spielberg, the special effects blockbuster spawned 3 sequels and a 2015 reboot.
I don't care what the president says, he's my best friend, and you can't take him away.
Okay, kid, you got the job.
The summer of Spielberg continued exactly 1 week later with the release of E.T. the Extraterrestrial on June 11th.
E.T. home phone.
E.T. phone home.
Oh my God, he's talking.
The film, about a young boy who befriends an alien stranded on Earth, became a cultural phenomenon and was the most successful movie of all time until it was surpassed by another Spielberg movie, Jurassic Park.
It's hard to believe that the Academy has been in existence for 54 years. If Columbia had put only $2,000 a year into an IRA plan, they wouldn't have had to sell out to Coca-Cola.
On June 22nd, the Coca-Cola Company shelled out $750 million to buy Columbia Pictures, ensuring that its flagship product would be featured in classics like Tootsie, The Karate Kid, and Ghostbusters.
All taken care of by the good people over at Columbia Pictures, subsidiary of Coca-Cola.
So, if you were ever wondering why so many people drink Coke in your favorite 80s movies, it wasn't just because Coke is delicious. Nonetheless, in 1987, they spun the studio off as its own company, and by 1989, Coke was pretty much out of it entirely. 3 days later, Ridley Scott's classic sci-fi noir, Blade Runner, released in theaters on the 25th to little fanfare.
Commerce is our goal here at Tyrell. More human than human is our motto.
Starring Harrison Ford as a futuristic detective tracking violent androids, the film was a box office failure and almost disappeared like tears in rain. Now considered one of the most influential science fiction movies ever made, Blade Runner finally received a big-budget sequel in 2017. July kicked off with a spooky note with The Secret of Nim, a dark animated feature about a field mouse who teams up with a colony of laboratory rats to rescue her son.
Please, sir. I'll do anything to save Timmy.
Go to the rats.
It was the first film directed by animator Don Bluth, who had left Disney Animation with a team of colleagues after growing frustrated with Disney's bureaucracy and sought to recapture the studio's former magic in his own productions.
With The Secret of Nim, we're trying to tell a very definite story that has a little bit of bite in it. It does worry you. The story may scare you just a little bit.
But while Nim drew mixed to positive reviews, it only barely broke even at the box office.
The NCOM 511 computer. Within it, there exists an unknown civilization where man has never been.
Disney responded 7 days later with the visually groundbreaking sci-fi adventure Tron. Directed by Steven Lisberger and starring Jeff Bridges, the movie, which followed a computer programmer sucked into the software-based world inside of a computer, was one of the first to make extensive use of computer animation. Its visuals wowed audiences and critics alike.
We made X number of high-con positives and negatives. For each live-action character, an exposure for the main body, there was an exposure for the circuits, there was an exposure for the whites of the eyes, roughly 5 passes.
But its convoluted story left most viewers confused. Nonetheless, Tron became a cult classic and has since spawned 2 sequels and an animated TV series.
I wear this helmet all day long, and it seems to bring peace to me.
Pink Floyd's 1979 album, The Wall, was a mega-hit concept album about a musician going slowly insane, so the movie version was inevitable. Directed by Alan Parker, the movie, which was essentially a feature-length music video, hit theaters on July 14th. The unusual film was described by Roger Ebert as
one of the most horrifying musicals of all time.
And he saw a lot of movies. Nonetheless, it met with positive reviews, performed well at the box office, and is now considered a cult classic.
A helicopter crash near Magic Mountain today brought tragedy to the set of the Steven Spielberg movie, The Twilight Zone. Actor Vic Morrow and 2 small children were killed when the chopper came down as they were shooting a war scene.
Just over 2 weeks later, the most infamous disaster in filmmaking history struck the set of The Twilight Zone, the movie. Late at night on July 23rd, a helicopter crashed on set, ending the life of actor Vic Morrow, as well as child actors Renee Shin-Yi Chen and Micah Dinley.
But I didn't know it happened like things happen like that. Even pay me the whole money, I will never let my children be in that kind of film.
I know in my head and I know in my heart that we did not cause this accident.
Director John Landis, along with several others, would be charged with involuntary manslaughter in connection with the deaths, but was ultimately acquitted. On August 13th, the classic 80s coming-of-age comedy Fast Times at Ridgemont High was revealed in theaters. The movie followed a group of students navigating their awkward high school social scene.
It says 100% guaranteed, you moron! Mister, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna kick 100% of your ass!
And featured future stars like Jennifer Jason Leigh, Judge Reinhold, Phoebe Cates, and Sean Penn, and was written by future almost famous filmmaker Cameron Crowe while spending a year undercover at a real-life high school. Moving into the fall, if you happen to catch the largely forgotten comedy Lookin' to Get Out, which was released on October 8, then you saw the film debut of future megastar Angelina Jolie.
Where are you from, honey?
Las Vegas, Nevada.
The 7-year-old actress made a brief appearance as the daughter of the character played by her real-life father, John Voight.
Your daddy's he's a nice man.
You are too.
When Sylvester Stallone saw the first cut of 1982's First Blood, he was so sure the movie would end his career, he offered to buy it from the studio so he could destroy it.
Originally, it was 3 hours long. I stayed an hour and a half in the woods chasing guys. And then there'd be lines like, the cop pulls me over and he goes, "Where do you think you're going?" I go, "Did you ever see Easy Rider?" "Yeah." "Well, yeah, I'm Easy Walker."
Lucky for him, cooler heads prevailed, because that movie, released on October 22nd, turned out to be a huge hit. The 13th highest grosser of 1982, First Blood made pissed-off Vietnam veteran John Rambo into an American icon.
There wouldn't be no trouble except for that king cop.
Well, you did some pushing of your own, John.
They drew First Blood, not me.
While launching a franchise that would eventually include 5 movies and an animated series. 37 years later, Stallone put the headband on one final time for Rambo: Last Blood, released on September 20th, 2019. The film, which found its hero trying to save a loved one from Mexican drug cartels, drew negative reviews. It may indeed turn out to be Rambo's last adventure. 1 month later, the blockbuster biopic Gandhi was released in theaters. The epic was based on the life of Indian lawyer Mohandas Gandhi, who helped lead the Indian independence movement against the British in the early 20th century.
We think it is time you recognized that you are masters in someone else's home.
Directed by Richard Attenborough and starring Ben Kingsley, it was nominated for 11 Academy Awards, ultimately winning 8, including Best Actor, Director, and Picture. On December 8th, Saturday Night Live star Eddie Murphy made his screen debut alongside Nick Nolte in the gritty buddy cop action comedy 48 Hours.
It's not a completely serious role. I do some cute things in the movie.
There's a new sheriff in town.
The hit film, which found Murphy playing a convict forced to team up with a cop to catch a killer, wasn't the first buddy cop movie, but it is credited with popularizing the genre. And it launched Murphy's career as a movie star.
It's Billy D. Williams' time in this picture, ladies and gentlemen.
That same day, the decidedly less funny film Sophie's Choice was released in theaters. The gut-wrenching drama stars Meryl Streep as a Polish immigrant carrying a dark secret about her imprisonment in Auschwitz.
Du kannst eins von den Kindern behalten.
Wie bitte?
And is still considered one of the most impactful movies about the Holocaust to date. On December 17th, Sidney Pollack's gender-bending comedy Tootsie hit screens.
You want some gross caricature of a woman to prove some idiotic point like power makes women masculine or masculine women are ugly? Well, shame on the woman that lets you do that, on any woman that lets you do that.
Starring Dustin Hoffman as a struggling actor who disguises himself as a woman in order to get a part on a soap opera, the groundbreaking movie satirized sexism in the entertainment industry as well as in society at the time.
I'm Edward Kimberly, the reckless brother of my sister Anthea.
That is one nutty hospital.
Finally, Ned Tannen closed out the year by resigning as president of Universal Pictures on December 27th. Tannen supervised some of the studio's biggest hits, including classics like Jaws and E.T., and he is the namesake of Back to the Future villain Biff Tannen. He didn't go far, though. Tannen started a production company that made 80s classics like 16 Candles and St. Elmo's Fire, and in 1984 became president of Paramount Pictures. So what do you think, and what was your fondest movie memory of 1982? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other timeline videos.